I'm here talking about Pokemon Black and White for the Nintendo DS. Of course, a lot of people probably playing it on the 3DS too, because there's not much else to play on there. Pokemon Black and White is the 5th generation Pokemon game, and it's on the same console as the 4th generation games. This is somewhat confusing, but I'll explain later. Essentially what you have is we have another like 150 brand new Pokemon, and where Black and White kind of is different than other generations is that we're stuck with these new Pokemon until the end. They don't borrow from Kanto or Johto or Heian or Hoenn or whatever it is. They are strictly, it's that new Pokemon you're using. So for veterans and newcomers to the series alike, you're kind of starting on a fresh foot in that, you know, a new Pokemon shows up, you don't know its type, you don't know its weaknesses, there's a whole bunch of new moves to learn. So for someone who's been playing Pokemon since the beginning, Red and Blue, etc., it's kind of nice. That being said, some of the new Pokemon designs are ridiculous. There's like a bag of trash, there's a gear, there's just a deer, and monkeys, because, love monkeys. So that being said, that out of the way, there are of course a few Pokemon that are awesome, and of course you wait until the end of the game where you can actually transfer in your original favorites and stuff like that, and hopefully by then you've made new favorites in the Black and White Pokedex. And then we have a whole new region to explore that's more or less based on kind of a Pokemon look at a North American kind of culture. It's not extremely Japanese when you look at it. There's like huge cities. The scale of this Pokemon game is, the region is awesome. They do a lot of stuff with perspective, so you'll be going across huge bridges into huge cities, which hasn't really been done. The areas to explore are pretty big. There's lots of diverging paths you can't get till the end of the game. A lot of hidden stuff. Very well thought out map on the whole. If you haven't played a Pokemon game, or you played Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and you're like, I played this before. Black and White is something different, especially with its story, in that not quite like the anime, but they do tie in the evil team, in this case, Team Plasma, I believe it was, are kind of fighting for people like Pokemon rights. They're basically like, hey, they're not our battle slaves. We should let them go. And that's the overarching story. Every time you come to a new town, there's some kind of plot you have to unfurl with the help of the town's gym leader usually. So they're getting more involved in the actual story. And that being said, the storyline is much more front and center than it is in other Pokemon games where you're kind of focused on collecting them all, getting the gym badges. This one more has more of a pressing storyline where you're like kind of on this journey and you're going to stop them by the end. And that kind of diverges actually at the Pokemon League, which hasn't really happened in a Pokemon game before, so it's something different. That being said, the idea that this Team Rocket-esque kind of team is looking to free Pokemon as our battle slaves, while in turn using Pokemon as battle slaves, is kind of contradictory, but, whatever. I won't spoil anything further in the story for that. When you do, of course, get to the end of the game, there's a whole new side of the map to explore. You can transfer your Pokemon. You can't trade with previous versions, because these new Pokemon are actually not in those versions. There's also something called Global Pokemon Link, or what have you, on your PC, which allows you to actually game sync your game to everybody else's game, and put a Pokemon to sleep. Which isn't what it sounds like. You can then go on the computer, play flash games, and unlock all different kinds of things. I went on there, I got a bunch of super potions and a Tangela. Whatever, I'm happy. So a lot of cool stuff. Nintendo, of course, has the Wi-Fi thing set up. It can use WPA2 now, which is super handy. You don't have to dumb down your router to go trade Pokemon online. There's always somebody out there that's willing to trade you crap for something awesome, believe me. Especially with this new tower you unlock when you can actually trade. It keeps track of where the person is in the world that you're trading to. As someone from Canada, lots of people in Japan want to trade with me. Hey, why not? So I benefit in that case. A lot of cool online stuff. There's a tag mode. The Pal Pad is back. Friends code. You know all that stuff from the previous games. But more so now, it almost feels like an interactive. Like if you're playing with someone in close proximity to you, it's almost like you're closely interacting with them. There's an infrared thing in the game card that actually allows you to trade like lickety-split and battle whatever you want to do. It's very, very quick. It's streamlined. It's the most... back in Red and Blue, when we're like, we can trade in battle via link cable, that's awesome. This is kind of the epitome of it. What is next is that Pokemon MMO that everybody's been kind of looking for. If you've played a Pokemon game before, if you haven't, Pokemon is, it's the standard get 8 badges, Pokemon League, catch 'em all kind of craze. If you're sick of that, it's not very different. For someone who's, kind of maybe fallen out with the Pokemon thing, because you're like, man, it's the same thing every time. This does feel fresh. It feels like you're playing Pokemon for the first time, in that they do have those restrictions to using the Pokemon that they made for you for the first part of the game. I definitely recommend Black and White. I'm a big Pokemon fan myself, of course, so check it out.